God warns the enemy is stealing your miracle right now. Don't skip this, because a huge blessing has been hidden from you, and you need to know why and what's next. Hey, my dear child, you just did great on my last and hardest test. Get ready to see what you can do in heaven. You thought I was quiet, but I was actually watching you get stronger. You thought I turned my head away, but I was right next to you. Every night you couldn't sleep, every prayer that didn't seem to be answered, and every hard time that felt like a loss had a reason. No one else saw you but me. I saw that you picked to love instead of getting angry, and to believe even when it seemed like nothing could be possible. You did a good job. You didn't stop. It wasn't broken. You got stronger. You did well. At that time, you didn't know it, but heaven was watching everything. Every step that you didn't understand, every hard time, and every weight was a test from God, not to see how weak you were, but to see how strong your faith was. You were wondering why I wasn't talking. You didn't understand why answers weren't coming. But the quiet wasn't because I was gone. That proved I could trust you with this challenge. I knew what would happen ahead of time. I knew you'd get back up. Things were being done to you to get you ready for what's to come. Even though you walked through fire, I never let it burn you. I was making gold out of you. As I watched you cry by yourself, I tried to understand why everything seemed to be going wrong. In those times when you felt like giving up, when you didn't have any more strength, I saw that your prayers were empty, that question you were afraid to ask out loud. God, are you still with me? Are you still seeing me? But I told your tired heart, yes, my child, I see you. I'm still here. Do not stop. You kept going forward even when you couldn't feel me. You held on tight even when you didn't get it. You wouldn't give up your faith, even when it seemed like a thin thread. That's a win in heaven. That's what it means to do well on the hardest test. The world only saw how hard things were for you, but I saw how much you worshipped even though things were hard. I saw you look up when everything fell apart around you. I saw that you chose to forgive instead of getting back at them. Even though your heart was breaking, I saw you leave things that would have hurt you. I saw you love people who hurt you, help people who forgot about you, and believe even when everything told you not to. You got through because you put your trust in me over your feelings. You failed because you picked me over ease, pride, and fear. There were times when you thought you were going to lose everything, but you didn't know that I was keeping you safe from trouble in the future. Every time a door shut, you had to wait, or you were let down. It helped you get ready. I didn't push you away. I was leading you in a different way. I wasn't making fun of you. I was making you stronger. I had to take what couldn't stay out of your hands, so I could put what will come next in them. You did a good job. You went up. You reached a level of faith that not many people reach, because they aren't willing to face the test long enough to change. Heaven is proud of what you did, my child. Every time you got back up after falling, angels were happy. Their mouths dropped open in shock as they saw you praise me with tears down your face and whisper. You told them, I still trust you, even though there was no reason to. Heaven is so proud of you right now that you have no idea it. You may have thought that your prayers were lost, but they came back to me like sweet perfume. It was written down every cry. It was possible to see every good thing that was done. It would always be clear that you picked me. when no one was looking. I didn't need you to be perfect, see? All I asked was that you keep going. That's what you gave me. You stayed. You hung on. You had faith. And that's why I can now say with pride, you passed. The last and hardest test is over. What is now pure after the fire has done its job? You had to go through hard times to learn how to be strong when things are going well. So you could learn how to hear my voice over all the other noise. I made you feel alone. I let you be alone with nothing, so you could learn how to hear my whispers. There was a reason for everything. There was no waste. Now, my dear, heaven is helping you. The angels who saw you struggle are now making blessings with your name on them. Heaven, which once put you through tests, is now ready to reward you. The wait is ending. The door is going to open. Now that it's time to cut back, a time of promise is coming. You did well on the hardest test, and now the sound of breakthroughs can be heard forever. Things are going to change quickly. Things that you lost will be given back to you. There will be speed where there was a wait. There will be happy songs where there was silence. What your tears bought is now being opened up in heaven. It took faith to plant the seeds, and now you will get a big harvest. Your story is getting longer, but this new part won't be written with pain. It will be written with hope. If He's always been with you, say, "Thank you for being so close, Lord. I was asked why it took so long. Why did you ask me to wait? It took me a while to wait because I wanted your heart to be ready to receive without being proud, to walk in blessings without forgetting who gave them. I waited because I cared about you too much to let success come before you were sure you could trust me. You did well because you learned to trust me, not just what I told you. I'm safe to let go of what heaven has been holding now that you've shown faith. So keep a close eye on me, kid. Keep an eye on what I open next. Look at the doors that can't be closed swing open. See how things get put back together in ways you never thought possible. You'll see friends get back together, money come in, chances appear, and peace appear where there used to be chaos. But most of all, I'll feel closer to you than ever. It's not just about what I give you next time, it's about who you've become. You're not the same person who began this test. You're stronger. You know more now. You're all set. You made it, my love. Heaven saw you and cried with you. Now heaven is happy for you. You've passed the hardest test, and now the fun part is coming. Don't move. Just look up and watch me. What was lost will come back with more. What hurt you will now help you. And everything that put you to the test will now speak for itself. You did well. Now, heaven lets the reward in. You kid, you didn't even know what I was doing, did you? While you cried over what was lost, I was making plans for what would happen next. You thought everything was falling apart, but I was putting it back together to make something strong that would last forever. You thought I was taking something away from you, but all I did was take away what you couldn't take with you to the next season. I saw a strong base while you saw nothing. You saw loss, but I saw getting ready. I saw beginnings that your eyes couldn't understand yet, but you saw endings. When you said it was a wilderness, I said it was a polishing. You thought the silence meant abandonment, but it was really heaven working behind the scenes, even when it seemed like everyone had forgotten your name. You were never really alone. I watched every move, every tear, and every second of giving up. You prayed that I would use you, and I answered that prayer not by making you feel good, but by making you stronger. I said yes when you asked me to bless you, but first I had to make you someone who could hold the blessing without losing me. Loved one, there were times when you felt like you did something wrong, when things were hard. If you looked inside your heart to find out why you were in pain, you wouldn't have known that it wasn't punishment, but cleansing. You weren't being picked. You were being judged. I was making you stand out by getting rid of anything that could have hurt what I was building, not because they were bad, but because they were too small for where I was taking you. I had to take away some people, habits, and comforts. You asked for more, but I had to make sure your hands were strong enough before I could give it to you. I remember those nights when you asked God, "Why did you let this happen? Why did you take them away? Why did you not stop it?" Every word hurt me. In your heart, I saw the chaos. You didn't know this, but I never let anything go from your life unless it was to make room for something better. There were some doors that I let close because leaving them open would have worn you down. I let relationships end because they were based on needing someone and not on what was right for me. Plans didn't work out because they would have taken you away from what I wanted for you. There were delays after delays, and you couldn't see them. My child, there are some things I can't teach you until we're not together. You can't always learn new things when you have a lot. In the desert, you learn who I am, not some faraway God, but your provider, your peace, your guardian, your whole being. Because you had no one else to turn to, you finally turned to me. When no one else got it, being with me made you feel better. You learned that you can hear my voice, even in whispers when it got really quiet. You thought I was hiding from you, but I was really drawing you closer. All of the wild places are like schools for faith. Trust, not what you see, teaches you how to walk. You learn to pray because you need me, not because you want something. You learn to love even when no one loves you back. When it seemed easier to be angry, you learn to forgive. That peace doesn't come from what's going on around you. It comes from me. You learn that it's okay to not have everything together in order to have a strong relationship with me. All of this was going on while heaven watched and smiled, because every small act of faith you did was building something that would last forever inside you. I know how tired you were and how hard the trip was. On some days, your faith was too weak, and you didn't know if you could wait another night. But I want you to know this. Every second of that fight was important. You grew your future with every tear you shed. You built spiritual strength every time you refused to give up, and it will carry you to your destiny. You thought you were just making it, but you were really getting stronger. That wasn't my goal to hurt you, but to make sure you won the fights that were coming. What you called loss, I called cutting back. Do you know how to prune? It looks like it hurts. There are cuts, but they're really getting ready for a lot more. The person who cuts back a vine doesn't hate it. He loves it too much to let it grow wild. He cuts off the branches that aren't making fruit, so the ones that are left can make more. This is what we did together. I wasn't putting you down. I took away what was holding you back from growing. I wasn't killing you. I was making room for fresh life to grow. Some of the people I took out of your life were never meant to be there. You would have stayed stuck in some places because of the chances you missed. I told you to leave, Not all of the dreams that died were bad ones. They were like seeds that had to fall, so that new dreams could grow from the ashes. Each, no, I said, helped you get a bigger, yes. Each closed door pushed you closer to the one that leads to your goal. Every wait was a kind thing that was done in secret. I know that you felt forgotten when you were by yourself. You didn't understand why other people seemed to be moving forward while you were still. They told you about their path and asked me why it was taking so long for my blessing. I don't keep track of time like you do, though. I'm at the right time because I can see what you can't. It would have been bad for you if I gave you what you wanted when you wanted it. It kept you safe to wait. The silence kept you safe. You were ready for when you would be seen because of the hidden time. Before I gave you what you asked for, I had to make sure that who you were was based on me. This is because blessings that are built on not feeling good enough fall apart when they're put under stress. It was important for me for you to know that what makes you valuable to me is not what you have. You are my child not because of what you do, but because of how I treat you. I love you for who you are, not what you do. You had to go through tough times to understand that. Remember when things began to go wrong, and you prayed that I would fix them right away. When you asked me to bring back something that was going away, I didn't. You thought I had left you, but I was doing more than that. Instead of fixing what was broken, I was building something that would last forever, and I let some things fall apart so that your base could be just me. You need to know that you will stand strong because you are rooted in me, even if everything else falls apart. At that time, you didn't fail, you found me. You didn't lose yourself. You found out who you really are. You got back the things you thought were taken from you in a new way: peace, understanding, wisdom, and strength. I was answering prayers you didn't even know how to say at the time. Because you asked me to make you stronger, I made you go through hard times. Because you asked me to make you smarter, I caused the confusion that made you look for me. Because you asked me to make you love, I let pain soften your heart. I answered all of your prayers, but not the way you thought I would. In a way that will last forever. You were not being punished, my child. You were being made clean. I burned off the parts of you that couldn't hold my glory. Fear was going away so faith could grow. I was getting rid of my pride so that my humility could shine. I took away the idea of being in charge so you could learn to trust me. You were not being burned by the fire you felt. It was making you better. The silence you didn't like wasn't empty. It felt like I was there. The waiting you didn't like wasn't a delay. It led to growth. That time is now over. The wild place has done its job. You're not the same person who put it in. Your spirit is better. You have more faith. You can see better now. You have learned to always trust me, love without conditions, forgive quickly, and walk by faith. And the most important thing you've learned is that I am enough. Now, my beloved, what looked like loss will soon be seen as gain. Being alone helped you get ready for being influenced. The pain made you ready for a purpose. The breaking got you ready for the blessing. You made it through the fire, and now you have a light that darkness can't dim. The test showed how strong you were, but the secret time showed how kind you were. I will use that heart, which has been cleaned and given up, to let what comes next in. It's no longer secret time. What couldn't be seen is about to be shown. What was being planned behind closed doors is about to be made public. Heaven is moving. Now that the winds have changed, the same God who made you better is about to reward you. We will never forget you. You were being shaped. You were always with someone. You were being given the job. You never had to wait. You were getting better. Now is the time, my child, to live the life that was always meant for you. You did well on the test. You stood through the fire. Now, heaven will show you why everything happened. You did what I told you to do, my child, even though no one else got it. You stayed even though it was hard. Your trust in me, when you couldn't see me, is what makes you faithful in heaven. That there were times when doing the right thing was so hard that you wanted to give up, when the way it didn't make sense for me to tell you to walk. You asked, why would God lead me here, only to make me lose so much? But you didn't know at the time that your obedience was the start of everything that was going to grow. Heaven kept track of every time you said yes to me alone as a win. Ever since the beginning of time, every act of obedience you thought no one saw has been heard. You didn't follow through because it was simple. Because you loved me, you did what I said. God moves when people obey like that. You picked being loyal over what was easy, being humble over being proud, and forgiving over getting back at someone. You stayed when everyone else left, and you believed even when I didn't say anything. That's not often you obey like that, my child. That kind of proof can't be found in words alone. It shows that your heart really does belong to me. I know you weren't always strong. For sure, you felt like leaving sometimes and told God, Lord, I can't keep doing this. You didn't give up though. You stayed. Heaven is about to move because you stayed. Remember when I told you to give up the things you loved the most? How painful was having to obey. I asked you to let go of something that seemed good and that you had prayed for. You didn't get it. The test wasn't how strong you were, though. It was how willing you were to give up. I didn't mean to take anything from you, to show that I could trust you more. I did that. You can't get the bigger thing until you let go of the smaller one. You did what they said. Even though you were crying, your heart was breaking, and you had no idea what would happen next. You still said, yes, Lord. Everything changed when they said yes. You couldn't see it, but darkness moved away from you a little each time you did what I said. When you forgive someone who hurt you, chains that were stopping your path fell away. Light broke through the shadows every time you chose to stay pure in a world that praised giving in. Every act of obedience, no matter how small, has changed the course of time. You have no idea how many people's lives will be changed because you picked to follow me instead of comfort. You didn't think your obedience mattered, but it changed the world you couldn't see. When you chose to love people who hurt you, I saw you. I saw you let them off the hook, even though they never said sorry. It was holy to forgive. It wasn't weakness, it was a fight. The enemy wanted you to hate them, so he could hurt your heart, but you wouldn't give in. You kept the anger in check. You told God, Father, let them go. And heaven was filled with happiness. Angels were happy because they knew you had just won a battle that was bigger than any victory on earth. You did more than just forgive someone. You beat evil. I also saw you when you chose to be humble over getting even. I saw you when you left arguments that you could have won. When you had the chance to defend yourself, but chose to stay quiet. I saw you. You didn't think anyone saw, but heaven did. You looked like me every time you picked peace over pride. You showed the world what real strength is every time you trusted me, instead of proving yourself. I wasn't interested in how well you did, my child. I was interested in how you carried yourself. You learned to bow when you should have stood up straight. You learned to love when you were ready to hate. That's why God calls you faithful, right? Your mercy never let me go, if His kindness helped you. The best way to worship is to obey even when it hurts. When things are going well, anyone can praise me, but only those who are true can praise me when their heart is breaking. That was your job. You praised even though it hurt. It was hard for you to worship. You raised your hand when all you had to say was, question. With that much faith, anything is possible. When you obey like that, heaven's doors are opened. You might not have seen the reward yet, but I have seen every time you gave up. Every yes is written next to your name in the book of memories. I will never forget what you did for me out of faith, even though it made you feel lonely. You did what I told you to do, and walked away from some people. You did what I told you to do even though it didn't make sense to trust me with your money. You did what I told you to do when I told you to help other people without getting praise or attention. Heaven stood up and cheered for you, even though no one else did. You gave when you didn't have much, loved when you didn't have anything, and served when you were tired. That is the kind of obedience that scares the enemy. He knows that I can't be stopped once I give my heart to Him completely. There were times when you got me wrong. There were times when you thought I had caused you to fail. Lord, I did what you said, but it still hurts. You said, even though I did everything right, I still lost. You didn't lose though. My love, you got something much more valuable, spiritual strength. When you trust me even when you don't understand me, you turn into stronger. You became more mature, tough, and at peace in a way that the world can't give. You learned to say, I'll trust you even if you kill me. And that kind of faith can't be lost. Every time you did what I told you to do in private, you said something spiritually. I trust God more than I trust myself. It was true what they said. It shut up the person who was accusing. It set you up for the good things that are coming your way now. You get it. Because you obeyed, an altar was built. Now heaven is firing back with fire. Things you've been hoping for, praying for, and believing for are starting to happen. Because you have shown that you are ready by obeying. I'm not going to keep something from you that your faith has allowed. You were put to the test in silence. A lot of the time, I didn't answer and my voice seemed far away. That silence wasn't a rejection, it was trust. It was a test to see if you would follow through, even if I didn't say why. I was curious about whether your yes was based on understanding or love. I'm happy to say that your love for me is real now. Don't have obeyed because you want praise or blessings. Do it because your heart belongs to me. That kind of obedience is praised in heaven. My child, I heard you whisper at night, I don't know why you're asking me to do this, Lord, but I'll do it anyway. When you said yes to things that scared you, I saw tears fall. It was funny to see how much you trusted me, even though you knew it was stupid. Now I tell you that those sacrifices were not in vain. My blessings were able to reach you, because you obeyed. Your faithfulness in the quiet places is making miracles happen in the open. Heaven doesn't judge faithfulness by how well you do, but by how well you obey. You were good with little, so now I'll give you a lot to rule over. You have been faithful in secret places, and now I will show you when it's time. You stayed true even when no one praised you, and now I will praise you in front of those who didn't believe in you. You did what you were told even though you could have given in, and that changed the course of your story. You see, I never needed to do everything perfectly. My heart had to be willing. That's what you gave me. Each time you did what I said, you showed that your heart is with me. Now I'm going to reward something that no one else saw. Heaven is giving you a lot of good things because of every yes. You said when you were in pain, your hidden acts of faith will soon bear fruit that you can see. So, my love, stay strong. You did well on the obedience test. You're done with the hard part. It's clear that you love, trust, and believe in God. You have shown me that you will follow, even if it costs you everything. Because of this, the windows of heaven are getting bigger. The promises that were put off are now being kept. You're already getting the good things you've been waiting for. You did what they said, even though no one else did. You stayed even though it was hard. When you couldn't see me, you could trust me. Now heaven says you're faithful. When you obey, eternity moves, and now it will move for you. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission grows into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community. Does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls, but more than your support, we want your presence. When you head to our community, through the link in the description, or the pinned comment, you aren't just visiting a site, you are entering a community of like-minded believers. This is a sanctuary where you can post your prayer requests, lift up the burdens of others, and engage in daily discussions with a family that speaks the language of faith. Whether you are joining one of our membership tiers for deeper study, sowing a seed of faith, or simply joining our daily morning prayers, you are helping us build a global altar of worship. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through a community that stands together. Each gift you give acts as living water for those in our community seeking healing and hope. Give, and it will be given to you, is the promise that sustains our shared mission. I invite you now to step out of the shadows and into this circle of prayer. Come with purpose, join the conversation, and plant your seed in fertile ground. Let's open the heavens together. Release your seed today, join our community, and see what God brings back into your life. That breakup you thought would ruin you, my child, but it made you into something new. You didn't break down. You were being changed. It was my beginning that you called your ending. I saw you feel like you lost everything. I told you in a whisper, yes, you can. I'm still with you. When you cried out, Lord, I can't take it anymore. You didn't know it, but heaven was working while you were broken. I was making you feel better while you were falling to your knees. While you were crying out in pain, I was giving my life meaning. There was gain where there seemed to be loss, and chaos where there seemed to be call. You see, my love, life can be so hard at times that it feels like your soul is snapping apart. But when we broke up, I was shaping you. I was making you into the strong person I knew you were before the world was made. You thought the fire was meant to kill you, but it was really meant to give you a crown. You weren't falling apart, you were opening up. I had to let some things fall apart, so that what was real, good, and divine could finally show itself. You asked me why I let the pain happen. You asked me why I didn't stop the loss or help sooner. I held them close after hearing those cries. Your pain didn't go to waste, I used it for good. I used every tear as a tool. Every broken heart became a holy place. Every hurt you felt opened a way for me to become more involved in your life. I didn't mean to punish you. I was getting you ready. I got rid of everything that didn't fit with where I wanted to take you. In some moments, you felt like your soul had been broken up into a million pieces. I never lost any of who you are, though. I took all of the pieces and started to put you back together again, making you stronger, smarter, softer, and more caring. It wasn't meant to end you. It was to make you bigger. I was making it easier for you to love, trust, lead, and keep going. You asked for more of me, and I gave it to you. But I had to empty you first. What broke me made room for my glory. I remember the nights when you were alone and thought I had left you. Nothing moved or changed when you looked around, and you thought, maybe he's done with me. But I wasn't quiet to show distance. I was quiet to show trust. When a teacher gives a test, they don't talk, because they know the student already knows what they need to know to pass the test. My silence showed that I was sure of myself. What I put inside you made me trust you. Even when you didn't believe in yourself, I knew your faith was real. You thought the fire was going to destroy you, but it was actually making you better. Things that don't belong are burned by fire. It can only bring out the shine in gold, not break it. You were always gold, but the fire made it clear. I saw beauty while you saw ashes. I saw strength, you saw loss. You saw weakness, but I saw smarts. Everything the enemy planned to do bad. Even though you couldn't see it yet, I turned around for good. Do you remember the time when the weight of everything made you feel like you couldn't breathe? It was too painful to deal with the betrayal, the heartbreak, and the unanswered questions. It was like, God, I can't handle this. I told her, you don't have to do it by yourself. When you thought you were going to snap, I was right there with you, holding you together. I had my hands under your heart, catching every piece as it fell, but you couldn't see it. You didn't just break apart, you fell on me. That's where the change began. The storm didn't come to destroy you, it came to wash away what you didn't need. You weren't up against the winds, they were just taking away the weight. You weren't meant to carry anymore. I let the storm hit not because I wanted you to get hurt, but because I wanted you to be free. You prayed for freedom, and breaking gave it to you. You asked for peace, and it came about when you gave up. It's only after something dies that new life can live again. So, my beloved, I let things break, because it's the way to becoming. Pride would stay where it needs to live without it. Fear would take over where faith should rule without it. The old self would never let go of what is new without it. Every time you asked, why me? I told you, because I trust you. Even when you weren't feeling well, I knew you could handle this. I knew that by breaking, you would help a lot of other people heal. You had no idea that your story was going to save other people who were still stuck in their storms. It turned out that your weakness made you qualified, even though you thought it didn't. When you felt too weak, too tired, or too broken were the times you needed to heal the most. You made my strength even better. If you thought you were losing faith, remember that faith is choosing me even when you're scared. You did. When you said in a whisper, "Lord, I still trust you," it was louder than any shout can be. Every tear that fell in surrender turned into a victory seed. Every sigh you let out turned into a song in heaven. You did break things, but you also gave birth to something holy. I know the breakup made you think about everything. It made you wonder if your faith, prayers, and being in my plan were still enough. Why is this happening to me? You asked. That's when I said, because I'm building something through you. So, you see, my best work often comes from broken things. My light can shine through the cracks. Since you didn't break, you would have been whole but empty. You are broken now, but you are full of grace, compassion, and power. If Christ is the rock you build your life on, type, "My foundation is Christ alone," and share this video. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself, Jesus says. This is not history. It is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. Before we get to the end of this powerful story, let's reflect on this deep truth. You did not find this message by accident. This is a divine appointment meant specifically for you. You are being invited into a protected, faith-filled community at the link in the description and pinned comment, a place where divine abundance is not just a hope, but a promise built on the Word. By heading to the site right now, you are unlocking access to a sacred community of like-minded believers. When you join our membership tiers, you gain immediate entry to powerful content, daily devotions, and divine insights that are hidden from the world. This is your chance to enter a sanctuary where you will receive spiritual guidance, unwavering support on our prayer wall, and speedy progress toward your destiny. Do not let this moment of destiny pass you by. Your breakthrough is waiting. Join our inner circle through the exclusive link in the description. This is how you guarantee you never miss the personalized messages and spiritual warfare tools meant to elevate your life. If you feel called to deepen your connection, the link is waiting for you in both the pinned comment and the description. For those who want to amplify this work and carry the light home, you can find our guided ebooks and Bibles in the pinned comment. Whether you join as a member or sow a seed through our resources, your presence and energy change the world. Take the step. Your abundance awaits. You are about to enter your divine future. But remember, this breakthrough is not for you alone. Your testimony is the bridge someone else will use to reach their own miracle. Archangel Michael is inviting you to visit community through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community. Does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. By joining our like-minded community, you are no longer praying in isolation. You are adding your voice to a global sanctuary, where we discuss the Word daily and stand in the gap for one another. This is not poetry when Jesus says, "Give and heaven will open over you." On this platform, every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and a hedge of safety for your family. Now is your time. Step into our community prayer wall, share your heart, and as you give, watch God multiply what you let go of. Let's finish this journey together. Visit our community now, join the family, and see your heavens open.